Okay, so that video that I just showed you, we were in the habit of going to Golden Corral for breakfast on Sunday mornings. Bad idea. Mainly because buffets have so much food that you can't really restrict yourself to just one item or one or two items, just a couple of items. And their choices are like extremely bad. And please, the dessert thing, not good. So it's just totally bad. And if you looked at those plates, did you see what we did wrong there? Real bad. And the other thing I did wrong was I was new at having a service dog and didn't know that you shouldn't be feeding your dogs in the restaurant. It was the only restaurant that I ever fed her in, but yeah, you don't do that. I did not know that. That was my bad. We did find sweet tomatoes. They are it's a restaurant that's basically a salad bar. Now you got to be careful. You know what you want to do is just get the vegetables. Don't get the stuff that has sauces and all that other stuff on it. You don't want that. Just the straight vegetables. I've been guilty going back for seconds on that, but the thing is I would fill myself up on the vegetables before I go in that back area where they have all the soups and stews and pasta and everything else. And then if I have something, it's a small serving and I just have one. That way I'm a lot safer. Now, the church section, let me explain the church. The reason why I did that is because Shay wanted to know about our church. He was talking about his faith and his church that he goes to. He wanted to know about ours, and so we would record whatever about our faith, and so I took my camera to church just to show what our church looks like. It was kind of hard. Our church is so large that you have we have multiple buildings and we have multiple rooms where we have one service. Never mind the fact that we have 2 services on Saturday and 2 services on Sunday, just so that everybody can get in and see the same service. It's really busy. They do have DVDs that you can buy if you want to. I forget, it was like $1 or something like that, just enough to pay for the expense of making them. Or if you want, you can go online and see the videos, which works for me too. I've done that because I've missed one and it's like, oh, what are they talking about now? And if you miss it, if they're in the middle of a series, it's important to catch one. Now, where we have our service is called the upper room. And in there we have these great big round tables that you sit like 7 or 8 people at. And they have this, what do you call it, coffee bar. I know they had a funny word for it, but I'm not sure what it is. But it's a place where you go up and they have muffins and bagels and lattes, coffees, teas. Sometimes they'll have like an orange juice or something like that. And you can get plain water. So they have that there. Now my choice, now that I've lost all this weight, I would much prefer to see something like a cup of fruit or a small thing of vegetables or something like that, so that those of us who can't indulge in all that stuff, yeah. Well, I was guilty of indulging, believe me. I went and had that breakfast, and then I go to church and I'd have at least a latte, if not a bagel or a muffin. And mind you, it's not a regular sized muffin or something like that. No, we're talking the giant size bagels and the huge muffins that serve like 4 servings. Bad idea. But slowly I started getting into the habit of bringing my own stuff, but I still had a hard time stopping their stuff, so I'd be eating both instead of just one or the other. It was really hard. Then, but now my appetite now is, I can hardly eat any of that stuff, so it's not like a big deal. But like I said, I would like healthier choices. one thing that Shay was trying to get us to do was to talk about a Bible verse or a quote or something to encourage other people, which I encourage you to do the same. In this particular video, I was talking about a lesson that we had that day, which was fight the good fight, run the race, and keep the faith. What does all that mean? Well, fight the good fight. It does not matter if where you are in life, you're going to have people who will not believe in what you want to do. Story of my life, or even understand where it is you want to go, that you want to change your life, and heaven forbid that you even try. And they'll do everything they can to stop your growth process. All my life, it was made clear that I would not measure up to whatever it is that other people thought I should be. People had these ideas of who I was. They were never right. It was always wrong. There's only one person who has to live with my choices. That was me. Like it or not, I had to learn to take control of what I thought should be my life. And believe me, I had to fight for it. That's what you need to do. You need to understand that you have to live with your choices, and the other part is I do tell my kids, whatever you do affects other people. But, if I'm not happy, I'm not going to make my family happy. If I'm not healthy, they're not going to be healthy. So I need to do what's right for me so I can do what's right for them. It's basically what I was getting at. That goes for your job, school, family, friends. You got to do what's right for you. Not only was I fighting for my own choices, I also wanted to allow other people to have their own choices. I may not agree with them. I may not see eye to eye with them, but at least I think they should be allowed their own choices, and I will support whatever that may be. Believe me, I ran into some interesting ones. Run the race means that you have to work at it. Okay, a lot of times people don't like the idea that you have to work to get what you want. Too bad. If you want something really bad, you're going to have to get off your butt and work for it. That's just all there is to it. You're not going to get a good grade at school if you're sitting in front of the TV set watching movies all day long, or if you're playing games all day long. You need to get in there and work on it. And it doesn't help, and family, friends, whoever, it doesn't hurt you to help someone do their homework. If you know how to help them out, please help them out. My son, he's in college, and every now and then he's like, Mom, I need some help. And most of the time it's just that he needs like an extra pair of hands to hold something or work something. This last month he had assignments where every week he had to put out a camera and record what he was doing. Not only he had to do that, he had to have somebody in the video to show that someone was watching him do it. So he had to have a video of me doing it, and then we had to switch the camera around on him and operate the camera at the same time. So it was interesting. I didn't have the greatest jobs in the world. Jobs are not fun, but if you can get a job that you like, please go for it. I had a whole variety of jobs. I had office work, I was a truck driver, I was a model, photographer, and a seamstress. Never mind the hardest jobs. The hardest jobs that anyone has to be is the parent. I was a mother, I was a stepmother, I am a mother, I am a stepmother, I'm a wife. All of those jobs require a lifelong devotion and training. It's training for me, training for them. And even though all of the kids are old enough to be on their own, Michael did come home to go to college, but the other 3 are on their own. I'm still mom. Even though my title is stepmom, I'm still mom. And if they need help, they know they can count on me to be there for them. It's just part of the job. Any goal, all of which requires the ending point of getting to your goal. But then you have to remember Once you get to that goal, you have to keep working, keeping that goal and maintaining where you are, because if you don't, it's going to slip away. It's going to get away from you, and it won't take long for it to happen. Just like your health. People, please do your research. You want to get healthy, you got to know how your body works, how your person works. Do your research and make sure that you're getting what's right for you. Ask those important questions to the doctor. And if the doctor gives you medication, go to the pharmacist and ask, what's this stuff for? Because half the time the doctors don't know what it's for. Keep the faith. Let's look at a farmer. First, the soil needs to be dug up. It has to be scraped of all the dead plants and stuff, rocks, whatever, so that the roots of the plants have a chance to grow. So in your life, or my life I should say, having my life torn up was hard. It's actually painful. But once it did, it gave room for what I needed to grow. Just had to be done. Sowing the seeds can be tricky. You need to know what you want to become before you get started. What kind of training do I need for this job? Think about it. You don't plant green beans and hope brownies are going to show up, really. Come on. You want to find out what your goal is and what it's going to take to get there. You've got to find those little seeds to plant to get yourself going. I needed to find out what it would take to get my weight down. I was in trouble. I was in big trouble. I had all kinds of medical problems because of my weight being so bad. I found what I needed in the line of seeds through YouTube, through Shay, I made friends on YouTube. I made friends and contacts. I found that wonderful seed that I needed, and I planted it. Now, fertilizer is something that we don't always like to talk about or work with. You know where it comes from, but you also know that's the nutrients for the seed, the ground, to absorb for things to grow. Like life, you have to go through the fertilizer to get to where you need to go. But in the end, that's what feeds you. That's what gives you the drive to grow. It's just the way it is. I had a lot of that stuff in my background. Changing my life was not a walk in the park. Walking across a room was a challenge. But I was up for it, and I went for it. Water keeps things moving and refreshing. I was drinking in hope for that one day where the frustration I was free of not being enough. It wasn't a case that I wanted to be something I wasn't. I just wanted to be more than what I was, like the rest of us. The hard part is stepping back. Yeah. I am a person who wants to have my hands in everything because I don't think progress will happen without me being in the middle of it. Not always true. Now, like this last week, I was feeling like I wasn't getting anywhere and I wasn't doing enough, all that kind of stuff. Well, I was at the pool, and this lady saw me swim in my laps like I always do on Tuesdays, and she says, I'm really impressed with you. You inspire me. And I'm like, what? And she goes, I wish I could swim. You can't swim? And she says, well, I can't swim because I'm just not coordinated enough. Basically, she just won't swim. It's not a case that you can't swim. It's a case that you won't swim. So the question is do you want to swim, and are you going to do what it takes to do it? Well, yeah. Okay, so I'll give you a lesson. So I taught her a couple of, how to float, how to do a little bit of paddling, that kind of thing. And before, 5 minutes, she was off splashing her way happily swimming. It was funny to watch. And then the other night, that same night, I was outside doing my walk, around in the neighborhood. I had 2 ladies that came up to me and told me how I inspire them, actually make them feel guilty because they're not out there walking too. And I'm like, well, you always can join me. But through that, I found out that I was planting my own seeds. I didn't know that people were watching me and seeing how I was changing. Those people saw me actually lose the weight on a daily basis, and they were impressed. And I didn't think that anybody ever noticed. So, the question is are you growing in such a manner that you're actually growing more seeds for other people? And that's important. And don't forget, there are seasons. Winter. It's a time to rest. My problem with winter, with me, I was injured, I had to heal, I had surgery, had to recoup, had an infection that required another surgery, had to recoup. I wasn't allowed to go to the gym at any of these times. My prescription was to stay off my feet and relax so I could heal. I wasn't doing it very well, but I was being told that I needed to chill. In the rainy season, well, everything needs water to grow, but too much of it will cause you to drown. You got a job that demands more hours, more work. You got kids who have school programs that you got to go to. You got school that you're trying to keep up on. You got home repairs, yard work. It's crazy. Sometimes you just feel like you're drowning with all the stuff that's being demanded on you. In 2012, I had lost so many people that I cared about. I felt like I was drowning in sorrow. It was hard. Last year, our basement was flooded out, and we had to beg for people to help us to get it cleaned out fast enough before all the water started causing mold and damage and all that kind of stuff. I'll tell you what, in a day, it smelled really bad, and we still had to get all that water out of there. And then, never mind the fact that the garage has been also flooded, and we haven't even looked at that. Some of the yard was destroyed. So it's just so much that we need to take care of now, never mind what I was going through in 2012. All we can do is take one issue at a time. Try to decide what's the most important thing that we need to deal with, and deal with that first. And just take it one day at a time. One of the Bible verses that I like is, this too shall pass. And when I'm going through the hard stuff, I keep trying to remind myself, this too is going to pass, it's going to go away. You have to wait for the right season. 2012 was my right season. I was finally granted a medical release where I could finally do something. The information I needed was there. The support I needed was there. I was finally able to move forward with what I wanted to do. Even though I could barely walk across the room, I was up for the challenge. Making friends in the process of reaching my goals, I thought would never happen. And you don't know how much that excites me. It makes me feel so good to know that somebody actually cares what I'm doing and supports me on it. So, is this your right season? Are you ready to get started? What's it going to take? Or what season are you in? Good luck.